This is why I hate Apple. Warning. Trigger warning. Click away if you're offended by opinions that aren't yours. Goodbye if... Yeah. Okay, now that I'm in stronger main, let's begin. Smartphones are now an essential part of the average human life. We use them to predict the weather, to access social media, and to keep in touch with the ones we love most. But of course, with everything, you have to choose between thousands of devices. We have the Galaxy series, the OnePlus series, the Google Pixel series, and the iPhone series. Now, don't get me wrong, if you like your iPhone and are set on keeping it, please keep it. I don't mind the phone at all. It's just the company that I'm hating on. But I can say one great thing about that company that I hate on. Their advertising is absolutely amazing. I mean, the latest and greatest, the next great thing, 50% faster. I mean, 50% faster than what? Their previous model? An inferior Windows laptop? What's it faster than? Oh, the last generation. Wow. Nope, the list goes on, but that's really not what this video is about. Their software limits you. Let's just say you want a new ringtone on your Android device from an MP3 file that you have downloaded onto your phone. Well, you go into settings, then you click on sound/notification, and then you hit ringtone. Hit the plus button in the top right corner, and select any MP3 file that you please. With Apple devices, you have to go to the iTunes store and pay for it. Unless, of course, you go through a really complicated backdoor, which includes using iTunes or iCloud, which iTunes does not work on most Windows devices, and iCloud is really weird, and using GarageBand or something. I spent 2.5 hours helping my mom set a ringtone on her iPhone 6S, and, yeah, that's just how really bad it is. But yeah, iPhones are also not customizable at all. With an Android, you don't like your OS, download a launcher like Google Now or Nexus. Have an iPhone and don't like your OS? Wait for an update and cross your fingers that you'll like it. Otherwise, there's nothing you could do. Apple doesn't really listen to you or anyone except for themselves at all. When I took the headphone jack off the iPhone 7, people outraged, and Apple has said it was for waterproofing. But I think it was to sell dongles for $50 each, and to save on production costs. And the thing still costs $770, which is miles more than the iPhone 6S, which I believe was $765. New. Mom got hers for like $450 used, which is still a ridiculous amount. And, well, Mom's phone needs no dongles, as you could just plug her headphones straight in. That's why she didn't get the 7. She loves her headphone jack, which all of a sudden ate a poisonous apple and died. But don't get me wrong, they make some quality hardware, and the feel of the MacBooks, well, they feel amazing. Their keyboard and trackpad are some of the best you could ever ask for in a laptop. But starting at $1,300 for the dual-core M3 model with no GPU. That's outrageous. I mean, 8 GB of DDR4 RAM is okay, but for a premium? No! Well, Nathan, most of the money goes into the materials. Idiot! Well, kinda. But aluminum and plastic are two of the cheapest materials to buy and produce. The Surface Book 2 is much faster with its Intel i5, and has a detachable keyboard and a touchscreen for tablet usage, made out of polished metal, and is $300 cheaper. Now let's take a look at their most expensive MacBook. It has a Core i9 with a Radeon Pro 560X, 32 GB of DDR4 RAM, and 512 GB of SSD storage, and costs $6,700. Now that's pretty fast, but their competitor is, once again, the Surface Book 2, with a quad-core Intel i7, a terabyte of SSD storage, and 16 GB of RAM, and the GTX 1060, which blows the 560X out of the water. And all for $3,200, which is $3,400 left. It's more than twice the cost. Now, even though it only has half the RAM as the MacBook, you could upgrade it yourself to about 32 GB for an extra $130. That's the problem with Apple. You get what you get. No changing it later. Drives me crazy. So for $3,200 less, you get a touchscreen a detachable keyboard, an as fast if not faster performance, an extra 500 gigabytes of storage, and future upgradability. Want to upgrade it back? Buy a new one for another $6,000. But people get Macs for their operating system, right? Ever heard of a Hackintosh? But the iMac Pros are even worse. If you've watched Linus Tech Tips recently, you will know that Apple support is trash. They've released a product without giving their team the proper training to fix the stuff. Now, Linus did fully know that opening up his iMac Pro voids warranty, and he was fully willing to pay the repair fee, but Apple refused to fix it because they couldn't fix it. Now, Apple did send him a new Macintosh for free to apologize, but would they do the same for the average consumer? Or did they do it because Linus Tech Tips is a massive YouTuber and they wanted to make themselves look good? Personally, I think it's the latter. Now let's take a look at their specs for the latest and greatest iMac Pro. The top of the line option costs, what? 14 grand? That's insane! Well, the specs might be good. Let's take a look. It uses an Intel Xeon W with 18 cores, clocked at 2.3 GHz with a 4.3 GHz turbo. The Radeon Pro Vega 56 with 8 gigs of VRAM, 128 gigabytes of DDR4, and a 4 terabyte SSD. Now that's ludicrous fast, but let's see how much it costs to build this. Now I couldn't get the exact same processor, but I got one clocked at a similar rate that the Xeon W was. Now here it is. Now it's nearly identical to the Mac. Now I was even generous enough to throw an 800 plus power platinum power supply. Nice case, high-speed RAM, and a 4K monitor. And now, thanks to Linus Tech Tips, as we all know, the iMac Pro has a very, very exposed power supply, which is extremely dangerous if you can work on it. It can actually kill you. But yeah, this is all for $6,000 less. Just install Hackintosh and you have the full Mac experience for much, much less. It becomes outdated, upgrade it. Your Mac becomes outdated, spend 15 grand on a new one. And that's why I hate Apple. They overprice everything. They don't listen to their customers. They're greedy. They love their money. And that's why so many people switched over to the Galaxy S8 when it came out. It was everything they wanted in a smartphone. Samsung listened, developed, and delivered. If Apple keeps this up, they won't be around for much longer. But they've been around for years. They have their sheep. They won't leave. They need to stand up and leave. Apple will learn from that. They'll change the way they do things. They'll do things responsibly. They'll price things responsibly. I mean, yes, you do have to make some form of profit, but not $6,000 of profit. How about $2,500? That's much more reasonable. Now, I will also say that the selfie camera on the smartphones are some of the best in the market. But you have to think, did they make it from the customer or themselves? Because from the sound of things, they seem to be quite self-absorbed.